All right, welcome back to day 4 of Before You Launch Your Business. I have been sharing some tips with you about how to successfully launch your own business. And my aim here, my goal, whether you are starting with me as a coach, whether you are starting your own business, or maybe you're already in a business and you're just like, oh, I'm going nowhere. I'm not focused. I sound like a salesperson. I don't even know who I'm talking to. Like, this series is for you. So please use it. Please comment. Please give me feedback. And I just want to help you with some things to help you get started right. Okay. So I have really enjoyed for the past few days sharing with you some tips about how to really start a successful business, how to know what your purpose is, why are you here, who are you talking to. And today I am going to talk to you a little bit more about social media content, because I can tell you, when I started this business, I was so afraid, and I hear people say it all the time. Rachel, I don't want to be a salesperson. I don't want to push something on someone else just because I believe in it, right? So we are going to talk today about how to create social media content that is not salesy, but is just sharing your story. Because honestly, if you decided to start a business, or if you do decide to start a business, hopefully, prayerfully, it's going to be because you believe in a product. You believe that it can change people's lives. You believe that a business model can set some other woman or sister free from living enslaved to paycheck or debt or student loans or whatever it is. So social media is where I created my business and where I still continue to grow. So one of my biggest fears, like I said, when I became a new coach, was that I would sound salesy. And honestly, truthfully, just to tell my whole story, I really probably was, because I went from someone who didn't post on social media, I didn't use Instagram, I didn't use Facebook, to starting to post 3 to 4 times a day. So when I was a brand new coach in 2014, we didn't have Instagram stories. You couldn't share throughout the day that way. So my coach told me, Rachel, start posting 3 to 4 times a day so that people can get a glimpse into your life, so they know what you're doing, so you're present on social media all day. And so I went from posting nothing to trying to post 4 times a day. And I really didn't know what I was going to talk about. So I just reverted to Team Beachbody, to workouts, to fitness, to food. And so I went from not being present at all to just being a Beachbody coach, right? And so I am more than a Beachbody coach. If you follow me now, yes, that's a very important part of who I am. And God has used that in my life, but that's not all of who I am. And that's not what I want to communicate on social media, because the women that I get to help, I want them to relate to me, to Rachel, the boy mom, the Jesus girl, the woman who likes to go shopping and buy new shoes and things like that, right? I want you to know who I am. I lost sight of myself in the beginning, and I really work hard to teach my coaches not to do that. So I began to share my story. I learned to begin to share my story. And when I caught on to the fact that I was probably sounding a little bit salesy, I just learned how not to be. I learned how to tell my whole story, the faith side of my story, the fitness part of my story, the family part of my story. And so I want to talk to you about how to create social media content that doesn't do what I did, that doesn't just become focused on one area of your life, and people get tired of hearing about your workouts, or tired of hearing about your face wash, or whatever it is. So there are 2 parts to your social media content. There is a front end that is your visual, that is your pictures that you take, that is all of that pretty stuff that you see on the front end that catches people's attention on the front end. And so I had to learn how to take those pictures. The back end is what you write and what you have to say. All right. So let's talk about the front end, the pictures. I had to learn how to use this magical piece of equipment, this iPhone. I take all of my pictures, 95% of my pictures, myself on my iPhone, and I didn't know how to use it. I didn't know about good lighting. I didn't know about how to turn the camera around. I didn't know about portrait mode, but I do pretty much stay up to date with the iPhone. I need the new one. Honestly, I just haven't walked into a store to do that, but I will update my phone. So I have the latest camera, I have the latest content, and I take the best types of pictures. So another thing that you need that I got pretty early on as a coach is a ring light. And you can kind of see that one there. It's a newer, the brand is newer. I got it from Amazon. And that helps me have really good lighting for my photos. If you don't have a ring light, you can step into a window that has good lighting. You can go outside in good lighting. Just make sure that your pictures are clear, because clear pictures are scroll stopping pictures, and you want people to stop so that they will read the content that you have, that you're sharing, that you're talking about. And so this does take practice. Like if you scroll all the way back to 2014, 15, my pictures look really a lot different. So it's taken some practice. I've been doing this for 5 years. And so like, I just want to encourage you, start practicing, get a ring light, figure out where the best lighting is in your house. Try the portrait mode, try just the regular mode. Some of my friends actually video themselves, and they just pull shots from the video that capture real life and are the most candid. So you just find your style and you find what people respond to, and that's part of your brand, like we talked about before. The back end of your social media content is the writing piece, okay? It is so hard to find the words I know, especially in the beginning. Like today, some days, it's still hard for me to find the words, but honestly, I pray about it. I sit down and I plan. I create what I call white space, where I'm not distracted by TV, I'm not distracted by family, I'm not distracted by, social media or like being on my phone. I just get quiet before God, and I pull out my social media planner. I actually plan my posts in an app called Plann, P-L-A-N-N. So I have my pictures, and then I start to write, okay? And Plann actually helps me put spaces between my sentences. So if you just type in Instagram, it jumbles all your sentences together, but Plann will actually format it for me, and I love that. So I actually sit there and create white space, and I know that on Monday, I want to inspire someone. I know that on Tuesday, I want to share transformation and tell part of my story. On Wednesday, I want to maybe share something relatable about mom life. Thursday is Thankful Thursday, and so on. So I plan out my content, and I actually sit there and I start to write. Now, do I write every single post for the upcoming week all at once? No, but I do get ideas. I pull ideas from my personal development, from my scripture reading, from something someone asked me in a conversation, from my challenge groups. It depends on where I feel like I need to share, what I need to share. But my story is absolutely the front and center piece of my content, right? I'm not telling someone else's story. I'm not talking about the person reading who is reading my post. I'm sharing the story that God gave me. And I always ask myself, remember we talked about who your ideal client is? I am speaking to that person, right? And I have to ask myself, why am I making this post? Is it to encourage someone? Is it to inspire someone? Is it to educate someone, or to invite someone to do this with me? And so I definitely want to have a good tagline or an opening sentence that is going to capture someone's attention, right? So I want people to know what the topic is about, the struggle is about, the funny is about, before they read the rest of my post. And if you go on Instagram and you look at your social media feed, you can only see the first sentence of someone's photo, right? So like here, I wrote freedom is, and you had to keep reading before you could actually understand what the rest of the post about. This other one I wrote the other day, I started to talk about what I was not. I'm not lean. I'm not flexible. I'm not a dancer. And so, if you wanted to understand and see what else I had to say about that, then you had to read the rest of the post. This post said, how do I describe it? It was a good picture. It was a scroll stopping picture. And how do I describe it? Describe what? What is Rachel going to describe? What's she talking about, right? So I have to get a good tagline in order to capture attention. And then as I start to write the rest of the post, I see it so often. People on social media are like talking at people. Like you're just talking at people and you're not really getting relatable. It's so surface level. I struggled with losing weight or gaining weight, and I found a solution, and now I want to help you. That's a very surface level. But if I go deeper and I share the story that God gave me, and I live my business, I run my business this way, that my story is not my own. It is something that God gave me to help other women, to serve other women, to encourage other women, to show people who are where I was 5 years ago, which was tired, momming, working full time, not sure how to get to a gym and work out and know what to do and know what to eat, and just needing a clear roadmap, a plan to start. That's who I want to talk to in my stories, right? I must tell that story if I expect God to use it for good. And so I am talking about me. I'm not talking about someone else. I want people to know I'm human. I want people to know I struggle. I know that so many women can relate to what I struggled with then and what I still struggle with now. And I love to give on advice on how I make changes, how I made these changes. And then the next piece is that I give a call to action. If I want people to engage with me, if I want people to do something with me, to join me, or just if it's something that's relatable, I ask them to comment below. Tag a friend if this encourages you. Drop a heart if you've struggled with the same thing. Engaging your audience on social media is so, so important. I am not just pushing a product. Buy this, join this, do this. I want to know that my story relates to you or you relate to my story. Because why? I don't want to be that salesperson who's just putting products in people's hands. I want to build real relationships with people because honestly, my job as a coach does not end when someone purchases something from me. That's when my real job begins. And I want that person to know who I am, that they can trust me, and that we have some things in common, right? So that's why I tell so much of my story. This allows me to help people right where they are, okay? And so again, my intention on social media is not to sell. And when I teach you in our new coach training, it's not going to be to go post a stock photo to sell a product. It's going to be that I'm going to help you build a brand around your story. My story is faith. It's health and fitness. I'm a mom of boys. I feel good about what I'm doing for my body. I want to empower other women to make the same changes in their health and fitness. I am building a life by design with this business that allows me to share Jesus and create freedoms for my family. So I am going to get excited about telling that part of my story. And it's kind of like, if you relate, if you want to be here, if you want to change your health and fitness, if you want to earn an income doing something that you love, you can join me. Like, you can join me, or you can just continue to watch me. I rarely show posts of products or never use stock photos, or I don't talk about products a whole lot. I share what I'm doing for me, and these are things that I use, and it's just always my story, right? This is not a cookie cutter business. Like, I'm not going to bring you into this business and teach you to be me. If you're following me, you probably relate to my story in some way, and I'm honored, I'm humbled. It just blows me away what God does through my message every day. But now I want you to share your story. I want people to connect with you, and I want you to connect with your people, that ideal market that we talked about in the last video. And so I want you to build your life by design by sharing what you're passionate about. What are your core values? What do you want to talk about through your business? And absolutely never, ever, ever, a number one tip I can give is don't be surface level. Tell the whole story. For example, I talk about how whenever I was in college, which was probably when I struggled the most with volume eating and eating for emotional fulfillment, I sat at the Sonic drive-thru. I can still picture this drive-in today. I sat there in college because it was my safe place. It was where I felt like I could let go. I could eat the food. I could let the food make me feel good. I could sit there in my car by myself. And that was a spiritual and emotional struggle connected to food. Do you know how many people can relate to that other than, yeah, in college I used to eat and drink too much, now I don't, right? So don't be surface level. And the next thing that I want to really encourage you with is this takes practice. It is not something you're going to come in and in a month, 2 months, even a year. I think even in a year into my business, I didn't really feel like I had my voice. It took a while. It took a lot of practice and starting and trying again and praying and really just stepping into who God was calling me to be before I found that voice. So I have been writing for 5 years. God gave me the voice, and my job is to take action and refine the writing. And if I can do it, honestly, anybody can. So those are my best tips for helping you be a storyteller and not just a seller. So if this helped, I want you to tell me. Tell me something. If you already have your own business, tell me something that I shared that you can implement right away. If you're not a coach yet and you want to be, then I want you to be one of my first people in my 2020 new coach training. That is so crazy. I'm so excited about this. I have big goals for helping women achieve big dreams through this business next year. And if you are a hard worker, if this interests you, if what I've shared so far is like kind of lighting your fire, then I want you to email me. You can do that through the link in my profile, or you can go to racheljmitchell.com and apply there. Either way, I am so excited to share more tomorrow.